Hello, in today's demo I'm going to show you how to set up your own sales gamification program using your CRM, Zapier and Rise.global. In today's demo we'll be looking at what is sales gamification in a nutshell. We'll be looking at what metrics to choose, how to define your decide on an incentive, and how stories are used to trigger action. We'll be looking at 3 books which help us to guide us through this process. We'll then look at a quick example of a sales program that we've already set up, and then we'll show you how to set that up yourself, how to add your leads on your CRM. We'll be using Zoho as the CRM. We'll set up a sales scorebook on Rise.global, and then we'll connect the CRM to Rise.global using Zapier. We'll then add a few leads, and then we'll see the stories start to be generated. We'll generate the leaderboard and distribute the scorecards to our players. I hope you enjoy the demo, and as usual, feel free to contact us with any questions you have about this. So first of all, let's just think about the metrics that we're going to choose. Now, if you've read any kind of sales, if you're a sales manager, which I expect you already know about books such as Cracking the Sales Management Code by Jason Jordan with Michelle Vazana. Excellent book, really kind of the key sort of, just to summarize it, the key principle they've got, they're saying is you can't manage results. So you can't just you can't say to someone sell more. I mean, it doesn't work. So, but what you can manage is activities. So, and in their book they have a kind of a framework which says sales activities lead to you achieving your sales objectives, which in turn then hopefully bring in the business results. So that's the first kind of point, is really what we're talking about today is the metrics that can be managed, and those are sales activities, so things that people can actually affect. Secondly, we'll be talking about, when we think about gamification, we want to also think about how we're incentivizing, and you're welcome to grab a copy of my book, Infinite Gamification. All the links to all the books will be in the notes at the bottom of the YouTube video. But essentially, one of the kind of the key things that this book really helps with is thinking through how you are the kind of the motivational design for your reps. So what is it they're going to get out of this program? And it will vary according to your context. So you may be in a context where your reps don't do anything unless that you dangle a big carrot, versus a different context where your reps might be already remunerated with lots of different other ways in different things. So you just want to provide them some good feedback on helping them achieve that goal. So and the way I really like thinking about it was as an incentive dial. You can really dial it up right to the full. You can max and say, look, there's cash, there's $100 on the line, or $1,000 or $1 million, and then you're going to get everyone's attention, and you can sort of quietly dial it right back to, look, this program's not going to generate anything other than feedback for you, so you can get better at what you want to do. And a classic example of that is something like Fitbit, where a Fitbit watch helps you get fit, but you don't win anything for being unfit. But anyway, if you want to learn a bit more about incentives, then do get the book. But you'll have to decide this bit for yourself, how you're going to incentivize. And then finally, we're talking about stories here, and this is part of the model we're using, is that essentially a story engages somebody emotionally in a way beyond what just the facts can do. And what we're talking about with the sales gamification program is really score stories. So we turn those metrics into scores. Those scores become the stories that the individuals reps tell them about themselves. So for example, my weekly score or my rank becomes a data story about me. I've gone up this week, I've gone down this week, my score's gone up, my score's gone down. Those are simple stories, but they're about me, and so they're super interesting. They're also trigger an emotion, maybe elation or disappointment, and that emotion also helps to trigger me to resolve to do better next week, to do better next day, whatever the cadence is of your program. But the point is that that score story is the thing that triggers action. So that's really kind of, in a nutshell, that's the same sales gamification mental model. We're looking at metrics, which helps us to, which are things that people can affect. We're thinking about how we incentivize and in what context, and then we're turning it into stories that people can actually relate to, and then hopefully then do something about those metrics. And that for us as sales managers, that's really kind of what we want to achieve with sales gamification. We want to serve the metrics in a way that triggers action, that changes behavior. So let's dig in and let's look at an example of a sales gamification program that we've created. I'm using Rise.global. So here's an example of a sales scale score, and this is very much an example one, and we can zoom in on that a bit so we can see a bit more detail. And the story from this week is, here's the leaderboard, and obviously as soon as we start looking at it, we see, right, Preston Williams, wow, Preston's at the top, he's got a total score of 73, and we can also see the metrics that we're gamifying here. And in this case, and for this example one, we've gamified the number of leads he's put into the system, number of emails he sent, and the number of calls made. And when compared to all of his other colleagues across those different 3 metrics, then he gets the highest score. And so then that's obviously something that's delightful for him. A kind of a slightly sort of less exciting story might be for someone like Sherry here, Sherry Fawcett, who's got a total score of 64, but she's gone down in rank. So last week she was 2nd, and now she's 4th. And so someone like Sherry, we might drill down in more detail and say, let's look at her personal score stories. What has happened for her? And so you've got the 2 main stories. Her rank's gone down, and her total score's gone down. But we can also drill down underneath those 2 kind of main stories and see, okay, well, her number of leads she's put in the system has actually gone up, but here's the key one, that the number of emails she sent has went down from 58 last week to 20 this week. So we've got a kind of a clear thing. She can see quite clearly the area that she needs to focus on next week if she wants to get back up to the top of the leaderboard, and she can see it's that email sent, and there's a summary here which is also useful in terms of seeing how she's done. Now, interestingly here, although she may have increased more leads in terms of putting them up, because everybody as a whole has put in more leads, her actual weighted score, the score relative to the rest of the reps, has gone down. So that's a really interesting part of the dynamic, and really useful for us as sales managers, is that we can actually sort of start to move everybody's behavior, not just individual reps, because if they're all ranked relative to each other, you're hoping to move everybody along together rather than just sort of setting them against arbitrary targets. So that's just an interesting aspect of using what Rise calls a relative ranking algorithm, and is actually a fantastic little tool for a fantastic little tool for kind of scaling up your program. But as I say, the things that we're talking about here today, they work actually with 1 rep, 5 reps, 10 reps, 100 reps, 1,000 reps. Actually, the same principles apply. In the book of Infinite Gamification, it does go into details of, well, what happens when you do have lots more reps. How do I break them down into different teams, have team v team, or splitting up into leagues and stuff. But that's all something that you can look into if you're looking at a sort of slightly bigger program. So within the Rise tool, I have a sort of an admin section, so I can see the basic scorecards, but I have in the admin section, I can also share it in different ways. So the key ones are obviously sending out an email. So I want to be able to send out to each individual, send out an email with their scores and what's happened this week. So there's a way of doing that. Secondly, we might want to put it on the big screen on the TV. So there's you can put it into a TV theme, and this is something that will then you could actually put up in the office. I know most of us aren't in the office anymore, but if we were in the office, then it's something that can go up in the office. And the other final one is also we want to be able to share something on our Slack channel. So what we can do is we can go to for example, the current bulletin, and we can just copy the URL, to be honest, and then just drop that into Slack. Okay, and then that will go in with the picture and say, here guys, here's the new scorecard for this week. So it's very much Rise is very much designed for for creating the stories and then distributing them. Okay, so that's what the what we're going to get to now. So we're now going to go in now, look at how do we actually set this up, and it is a bit of a process, because it's, you'll be using your systems, and so what I want to show you is exactly how you set up all three different systems: the CRM, connecting to Zapier, connecting to Rise. Okay, so we'll start by just looking at the CRM. So something familiar. Excuse me. Here is so Zoho CRM. So this is just a trial account. You can see it's got loads of stuff on, but we're just going to focus on leads today in this demo, because once we do get the principle working for leads, then you can actually do it for you can have it for calls, you can have it for meetings, reports, tasks, accounts, whatever is appropriate to you and what is appropriate to your sales objectives, to be honest. So let's just add a lead, because we want something to sort of talk about. So we'll add a lead for the big restaurant. Okay, and it's Mr. Smith, and the email is smith@bigrestaurant.com. Okay, so we've added a lead, and I'll just go back to the leads page, and in fact I'll just bring that over to the so make sure that's in there, so we're all comfortable. There it is. It's right. It's going to be right the way over here on unaccounted for, because there's old Zoho. So we'll put that in as a not contacted. Put it at the top there. So that's a new lead that I've created on Zoho. All so far perfectly sensible. We'll now go to Rise, and we will go and create a new scorebook. So just to quickly, just to show you that from the pricing page. So what we're talking about here with Rise pricing is for sales we're talking about a gold scorebook, and gold. So you can see it in pounds. So we pay in pounds, but also, for example, in dollars. So that's $60. So if you had say 10 reps, that would be roughly $6 per month. If you had 100 reps, actually that would be 60 cents per rep per month. So it's very relatively affordable compared with other types of sales gamification packages. But you pay just a sort of, it's a set fee, $60, whether you've got 1 or 100 players. So I'm going to go and create a new scorebook, and we're going to do a weekly score. So you can do daily, you can do monthly. It really depends on your sales gamification design. Weekly seems to work quite well for a large majority of sales teams. So I'm going to click on Use Template, and it will create me a scorebook, called Weekly Score. Okay, and it says no one in your scorebook, start by adding your first player, and we don't have any data entries. Well, that's what we'd expect. So I'll go to players, and I'm going to add my first couple of players. So I'll add myself. First things first, I noticed that it's just email name here. I actually want it to include the email, so I'm going to go to Scorebook settings and do player source, and I'm going to change the unique player identifier to email address. So that is the way in which we identify individual players on the Rise system. So a rep is a player. So the player is just the way that Rise calls individuals. So I add a new player, and I put my email on there. Okay, and click save. I'll then let's add somebody else as well. So I'll add my colleague, Nick. Now it doesn't send out any emails at this stage. It's just registering them on our scoreboard. Okay, so there's Nick, and then we don't have any data entries either, but currently it's just a default sort of score. Now I want to change that because we're going to be looking at leads, so we want a scorebook based on leads. So again, I'm going to Scorebook settings and score algorithm, and I'll change that score metric to leads, and I might define that. So number of leads added to the Zoho CRM. Okay, and we're going to show the number of leads on the leaderboard. There's some more places. There's loads of different formats, currencies, times, and all the rest of it. We want to show it. We want to show them it. It's all going to be shown to public is just whoever can see the leaderboard. Now, score method, there are different ways of score methods. So what we're going to be doing is we have to think a little bit here, but essentially what happens is every time a lead is generated on Zoho, we're going to add 1 point to my as a data entry on Rise. So the score method we want is actually sum. So it's going to sum up the all the data, all the leads I've added, and give me a score based on that. Okay, and all the rest of all pretty much the defaults are fine. And then secondly, we're going to use for the total score. At the moment, it's ranking based on sum. Now that can work, but I want to use again like we showed in the demo, because I might want to add other metrics later that will be completely different. I'm going to use a relative ranking algorithm there as well, so I'm going to change that. So I'm going to call this I'm going to put it with a nice circle background, and I'm going to use the relative ranking algorithm there. Okay, so that's all set up. So now what we need to do is start getting some data in. So we'll go over to Zapier and connect the two. We're going to connect Zoho CRM. It could be any other CRM, could be, and we're going to use Zapier to connect to send every time there's a lead is created on Zoho. We want Zapier to add a point to the lead creator's score on Rise. So we'll go to Zapier and we will create a Zap. Now, if you've not used Zapier before, it's a very simple tool. Essentially, what it's designed for is to connect 2 apps together. So the first app that we're going to connect here is Zoho CRM. Okay, now I've already and when we're going to say new lead, so triggers when a new lead is created. Okay, now you can connect your Zoho account if you haven't already done so, and just follow the steps on Zapier. Now I did this earlier, so it already knows who I am. And then it asks me to test the trigger, so I'm going to click test trigger, and it should pull in the most recent lead that I've written up. There it is, big restaurant, and you can see usefully it's got my name and email address, because we're going to be using that later to connect up with to Rise. Continue. So that's the first bit. So I've created my trigger, a new lead. Now I need to set the action. What is it going to do as a result? Now you won't have Rise.global there, so you'll need to go to again, the link is in the YouTube, or you just go to the help desk and search on Zapier in the help desk, and you'll see here there's a link to Zapier, the Zapier data collection, invite to the Rise's Zapier app. So you click on that, and then you will have the Zapier app here when you search for Rise.global in Zapier. Now again, so what do we want to happen as soon as the the lead is created? We want to add a new data entry to Rise. So we'll click new data entry and click continue, and again we connect our Rise account. So in Rise, under your profile, there's a place to get an API key. So you get that key and then you paste that into Zapier. That's how it works. Pretty simple. Okay. And now this is the bit that's important. So here we're saying what action do we want to take once the new lead is in. So we're going to choose our scorebook. So the first one that comes on the list, I think, will be the one that we've most recently edited. There it is, weekly score. Then we'll go. And we're going to choose leads, okay, email address, and now our player identifier. So we want to put in not the email of the lead, because that's not the player. We want to put in the email of the owner of the lead, i.e. our staff member. So that's me, and there's my owner email. So we put that in. Score origin, we can just put here whatever we like, to be honest. Zoho CRM, I'll put it just helps us remember. A unique score reference. This stops us getting duplicates, because sometimes, as with any automated system, it sends it twice, or it sends it once, or it sends it once, it doesn't get through, so it has another go. All of those sort of things. By having a unique score reference, it stops it being duplicated in the system. So I'm going to use that Zoho ID of the lead, and then Rise knows that once it's got that score reference, it won't allocate another point for that. So it's going to give 1 point for each lead. And here in this description, let's put a little bit more information. Let's say new Zoho lead, and we'll put the lead name and from space, and we'll put, why don't we put the name of the company as well? And then that way, when we look at it in Rise, we'll again know exactly which lead it's talking about. Okay, we'll click continue, and then we'll do test. Okay, that test has been successful, and we'll now turn on the Zap, and we're all set up and ready to go. Pretty simple stuff. Okay, so I'll go back and there, and it should be there. It says called name your Zap. I'll rename it. There's no point in having a Zap called. So this is Zoho to Rise. Okay, so let's test it all out. So let's now go to Zoho. Let's create another lead. Okay. Let's call this small restaurant. There we go. And this can be Jones. Okay, Jones at smallrestaurant.com. Okay, and we'll save that one. Now we've added that lead. Now Zapier does depend on your Zapier plan how quickly the link between CRM to Zapier works. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to tell Zapier to run it manually, and then it will manually go through and do this. So what we'll see is that Zapier has gone and got the latest information from Zoho and sent it to Rise. So we'll go and check that out. So if we go back to our weekly score, we'll be able to see that if we look under data entries, and we can see, yep, there the 2 leads have been put in. I can drill down into those leads and see them. Look at that, perfect. So it's got the name of the player, that was me, what time the data was entering, what the score was for the lead, and there's that description has come through the Zoho lead from the small restaurant. So so you've got everything there has come through. So now using Rise, because Rise is, don't forget, is a story tool. So what you do is you package all this data into scores that are distributed as bulletins, like you would a newspaper bulletin. So what we need to do is we need to generate a bulletin. So we're going to create a new bulletin, and we're going to use the next bulletin period, which is for the last week. So that's from the time that I'm doing it, and then the past week of data. So I create a new bulletin, and it'll go away and generate that bulletin. And what we'll get as a result are some score stories that we can then share with the team, either as the leaderboard or as the individual scorecards for each individual rep. While it's doing that, I will go through and I'll just show you how to change some of the other settings. So under options, you might want to change the name of your program to Northwest Sales Contest. Okay, or whoever we are. Give it a URL that you're happy with. Northwest Sales. Might want to change the name of players from players to reps. Individuals a rep. And we'll save that. Similarly, on the look and feel, we could set a primary color, so a color that's sort of familiar. So we're a bit of a purple company, so we'll use a purple color. We do have pictures for everybody, but quite a lot of people who are using Rise don't have pictures, so you can hide the profile pictures there. Then we might let's have a nice background for the image. So we'll upload an image. So let's choose a file from my choose a background for my book here. So we'll just choose something that's a bit more salesy. Okay, again, you can go and get a picture from your computer, from Facebook. You can go to the web. Plenty of places to get nice photos. It is this width, so it you do have to find a background for that. You can change the logo. I'm not going to go into the icon. The gallery logo is what gets shared when you share the preview link. Okay, and let's just see if that bulletin's generated. There it is. So the bulletin has now been generated. It's published. So I can edit it and give some content, some commentary. This week looks great, guys. Okay, and just put that all up here at the top of the bulletin. I can also see the stats, and as a manager, I can sort of view it as a table and stuff. But those are just other features. For now, let's go and look at it. So there it is in our nice purple. And we can see here's the leaderboard. There's me at the top with 2 leads, and I can drill down into that. I can see how I've been doing. And now what we can do is go to bulletins, and what we'll do, bulletin settings. Let's set that up to generate every week. So we're going to set it up so it's going to generate every week, and we're going to get it set to I'll just do it to generate next week, next Thursday at 12:43, and it'll keep doing that every week till the end of time, based on our CRM. So what's going to happen now is whenever people put leads, the leads will get sent from Zapier to Rise. Every week, Rise will generate a bulletin with a new leaderboard that we can then send out. What we can also do is we can set the set up the email so that it'll automatically send out the email after every bulletin. So everybody's going to get that email. How we're doing in terms of how you're doing in terms of your leads. So how you're doing in terms of your score, in terms of leads each week. So I've actually managed to set up really quickly there a fully automated sales gamification program that I've designed based on the metrics that I care about for the player, for my reps, and creating them stories, all using those 3 tools: my CRM, Zapier, and Rise.global. I hope you found it a really useful demo. As I say, please use the Rise.global support, help.rise.global. Ask us any questions about setting up your own implementation. Thank you.